How do you stop an empire with only 300 men? You don't. You die trying and become a legend. No mercy, no reinforcements, no escape. Only shields, spears, and a king who chose honor over life. Why did King Leonidas choose certain death? And how did this impossible last stand become one of the greatest military legends in human history? This is the true story of the 300 Spartans and the Battle of Thermopylae. 480 BC. The Persian Empire was the most powerful force on earth. Its king Xerxes had already conquered most of the known world. Now, he wanted Greece. He came with an army so vast that ancient historians said it drank rivers dry as it marched. Modern estimates put his forces between 100,000 and 300,000 men. Greece had perhaps 7,000. But to understand what happened at Thermopylae, you must first understand who the Spartans were. At age 7-years-old Spartan boys were taken from their mothers. Permanently, they entered a brutal training system called the agoge. For the next 14 years, they slept on reeds they cut themselves. They were given barely enough food to survive and were expected to steal the rest. If they were caught stealing, they were punished not for stealing, but for being caught. They were not trained to be soldiers. They were forged into weapons. Leonidas had survived the agoge. He had lived it, breathed it, bled through it. By the time he became king of Sparta around 490 BC, he was approximately 60 years old and still the most dangerous man in any room he entered. When Xerxes sent messengers to Sparta demanding earth and water, the ancient symbol of surrender, Leonidas had the messengers thrown into a well. There, he told them, you will find both earth and water. Xerxes sent one final message before the battle: hand over your weapons. Leonidas replied with two words that history would never forget. Molon Labe, come and take them. Before marching to Thermopylae, Leonidas consulted the oracle of Delphi. The prophecy was grim. Either Sparta would be destroyed by the Persians, or a Spartan king would die. Leonidas understood. He chose 300 men personally. Every single one had a living son. Because Leonidas knew that none of them were coming home. Thermopylae, the hot gates. Named for the sulfur springs that boiled nearby. A narrow coastal pass barely 50 feet wide, in places squeezed between the cliffs of Mount Calidromo and the Aegean Sea. This was where Leonidas chose to fight. Not because he could win, but because here in this narrow throat of rock and sea the Persian numbers meant nothing. An army of 1,000,000 becomes a line of 2 when the pass is 50 feet wide. Xerxes arrived at Thermopylae and waited. 4 full days. He was certain the Greeks would flee when they saw his army. They did not move. Herodotus writes that Xerxes sent a scout to observe the Spartans before the battle. The scout reported back something strange. The Spartans were combing their hair. Xerxes was confused. He called for an advisor, a Spartan exile named Demaratus. He asked what it meant. Demaratus told him, "These men are preparing to die. It is the Spartan custom before battle to dress their hair. You are looking at the finest warriors in the world, and they are getting ready." On the 5th day, Xerxes attacked. He sent the Medes first. Wave after wave crashed into the narrow pass. The Spartan phalanx shields locked, spears extended held like a wall of iron. The Persians fell by the hundreds. Xerxes then sent his most elite force, the Immortals. 10,000 warriors who had never tasted defeat. Their name came from the fact that when one fell, another immediately took his place. Their numbers never changed. The Immortals met the Spartans at Thermopylae, and the Immortals were pushed back. The Spartans used a tactic that broke Persian minds. They would pretend to retreat, luring Persian soldiers forward, then turn as one and cut them down. It was not chaos. It was choreography. 14 years of training expressed in perfect violence. Day 1 ended. The Greeks held the pass. Day 2. The Persians attacked again. Different formations, different approaches, same result. The pass was carpeted with Persian dead. Then came the third day, and with it, the betrayal. A Greek man named Ephialtes approached Xerxes in the night. He knew something. A secret path, a mountain goat trail that wound around the cliffs and came out behind the Greek position. He offered to show Xerxes the way. In exchange for reward, Xerxes accepted. Leonidas received word before dawn. A runner came to him in the dark. The Persians were coming around behind them. He called a war council. He dismissed the allied Greek forces, ordering them to retreat and live to fight another day. They obeyed. But the 300 Spartans and 700 Thespians who refused to leave, they stayed. When asked why he remained, Leonidas said nothing. He simply picked up his spear. The third day of battle was different. The Persians came from both sides, now in front and behind simultaneously. The Spartans knew the end had come. They advanced onto open ground beyond the wall to take as many Persians with them as possible. They fought until their spears broke. Then they drew their swords. When their swords broke, Herodotus writes, they fought with their hands and teeth. They fought until there was no one left to fight. Leonidas died in the final battle. He fell fighting surrounded. Even in death, his men fought over his body for hours to keep it from the Persians. When Xerxes finally reached Leonidas, he was so enraged by what these 300 men had done to his army that he ordered Leonidas's head cut off and placed on a pike. It was the only time in his conquests that Xerxes dishonored a fallen enemy, because Leonidas had made him afraid. The Persian army did continue south. They captured and burned Athens. But Thermopylae had given Greece something more valuable than victory. It had given them time. Time to prepare. Time to unite. And 2 months later, at the naval battle of Salamis, the Greek fleet destroyed the Persian armada. Xerxes retreated. He never returned. The empire that had swallowed kingdoms like water was stopped by 300 men who chose where they would die. 40 years after the battle, Sparta sent soldiers back to Thermopylae to retrieve what remained of Leonidas. They brought him home. They built him a shrine. And at the pass of Thermopylae, the Greeks carved an inscription into the stone above where the Spartans fell. It read, "Go tell the Spartans, stranger passing by, that here, obedient to their laws, we lie." 2,500 years later, that inscription still stands. The pass has changed. The sea has retreated. The cliffs look different now. But the stone remembers. 300 men walked into that pass, knowing they would not walk out. They did not do it to win. They did it so that everyone who came after them would know that some things are worth dying for. The Persians had the numbers. But Leonidas had something Xerxes could never conquer. He had already decided that this was where he would end, and a man who has made peace with death is the most dangerous man alive.